Are you tired of talking about Cyberpunk 2077? The constant glitches, the glitch compilations that we've all seen and loved on YouTube. Well, there's more to it today.
You wanna know how I got these scars?
Now, we've seen many games in the past that launched badly and then faded into obscurity, okay? Anthem next, Bleeding Edge, Fallout 76. Now, I know there's still a population, but we can all agree it didn't go well with that launch, and I'm sure it fully hasn't recovered. And next, of course, we're going to see, Avengers. That's coming very shortly, I'm sure of it.
God damn, that's beautiful. You're welcome.
But the question on many people's minds, and rightfully so, after we've seen so many games launch badly and so many just don't ever fully recover, the question with Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red is, are they really going to stick with it? Are they going to stay around and make sure this game actually works, all the patches are actually implemented, and the game is playable on base consoles, especially off the back of multiplayer being canned recently for Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of people are wondering what's going to be the future for Cyberpunk 2077. We have a bit of information on that today. Let's get into it. All this and more after the drop.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Okay, do we really need to do a lot of backstory? Probably not. All you need to know is, of course, it was one of the worst launches in history. It has to be the worst launch ever for CD Projekt Red. And since then, we've seen, of course, an apology from CD Projekt Red. They've outlined how they want to make it better, make changes. And they also blamed the QA testers because there was so many bugs that the QA testers just didn't pick up on. So how the hell was CD Projekt Red ever to know that there was going to be so many issues with console?
One of its founding principles was honest and direct communication with gamers.
And let's not forget also, PlayStation literally took it off the digital store like a week after launch. I think it was around the 17th of December. You literally cannot buy it at the moment digitally on the Sony PlayStation Store. Yes, there has been a major patch that has dropped since that has addressed a host of issues and has come in at a whopping like 40 gigabytes, that particular patch. So it's all slowly moving potentially to PlayStation, allowing it back on the PlayStation Store, but we haven't really heard anything about that yet. But with each passing patch, we may see that quite soon. For all the people wanting to buy it now on the digital storefront, you may get that in the future. But even since this major patch that came out about 2 weeks ago, Cyberpunk 2077 isn't like into the conversation again. People aren't excited about it. You know, I don't think it's fixed a lot of the problems. Let's just start there. And with them canning multiplayer, I myself and a lot of other people have now started to worry, is this really on the cards that they're going to completely fulfill the promises that they've originally set out in that apology? Or are they just going to completely abandon this and start working on Witcher 4 and other projects? Well, today we have a little bit more clarification from a recent interview. Developer CD Projekt is dedicated to fixing Cyberpunk 2077 so it can continue to sell for years to come despite a rocky launch last year, according to the Joint Chief Executive Adam Kaczynski. I don't see an option to shelve Cyberpunk 2077. We are convinced we can bring the game to such a state that we can be proud of it and therefore successfully sell it for years to come. Okay, first things first. I don't know, packaging it in such a way that our main focus is to sell more copies in the future is the way to sell it, especially in a journo interview. I feel like it really should be about honoring the actual player base, the people that have purchased it, that bought into the marketing PR, which was effectively quite the lie. We've talked about it before when I was actually reviewing this game. We didn't have console access. We didn't know what the console performance was going to be like, especially on base consoles. I got a PC review. So there are so many people out there that have purchased this game and have not got the actual game that they were promised. And I feel like that should be the focus. That should be the ones that they really want to impress, not potential people or potential sales in the future. Not to mention, it's been reported they made about $780 million off the first 10 days of the actual launch. And that's including also the people that actually got returns from the PlayStation Store and all that. So that's a lot of money to still be making.
Well, my work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?
But hey, look, they are a business, okay? So if it's going to be that they are motivated by future sales as well as a bit of pride from their previous work and they feel like they've let themselves down, then that's great, whatever. As long as you actually fix this game and get it to a working state on base consoles, even though I've said in the past, I think it's a pretty tall order to try and make Cyberpunk 2077 work on these base consoles. I hope they do it. But to hear that they've continuously said that they are going to try and fix it, and only yesterday to say again that yes, they are committed to this and they are going to continue to work on it, especially after that latest patch that just came out, it's good to hear. Because as I said before, we've seen so many games that come out in the past and they don't end up soldiering on because they just didn't see the value in it, because the brand's too tarnished, the whole product just is too much of a mess and they just walk away from it completely. As I've said before too, this game is actually good. It'd be different if it was like Anthem or something. Or Wolfenstein Youngblood. But as I said when I actually reviewed Cyberpunk, it actually is a really good game. It's got good bones. If it didn't have all those crashes and bugs and such a murky PR strategy when it was released, this probably would have smashed it out of the park. I still think that. So because of that, and because this game is actually so good, I think there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel for this. But here's the biggest problem with this, right? For the people that are watching, that have purchased the game and played it, and you experience the buggy mess that was Cyberpunk 2077, let's just say tomorrow they completely fix it. Are you going to go back now? Haven't you already experienced it a bit? Even if it was disappointing, are you really going to go back? And that's the major issue here. So many games that if they do fix themselves, they don't have the community to finally experience it when it's fully fixed, and then they go tell their friends about how great it is. This is the problem with not having a multiplayer now with Cyberpunk 2077. There's not that online component to keep people around. And because you don't have that recurring population that will be incentivized to tune in daily for certain types of content within Cyberpunk, your best bet now is to wait for the next DLC that comes out. And hopefully when you do actually bring out that next DLC, I'm just hoping that it's squeaky clean in terms of bugs and crashes, so people that do return to it, they can see how great this game really is now, and then they can go tell their friends that now it's time to buy Cyberpunk 2077 because it's fixed now. It's not a complete buggy mess that took $80 out of my wallet when it came out. But that's still a long road ahead. But this is a shorter episode today. I just really wanted to give you an update on that. Because again, I mean, it's kind of murky to see what's really going to happen with Cyberpunk 2077. But if CD Projekt Red is still committed and they're still wanting to come out in any journo interview they can to say that we are sticking with it, we are going to fix this game, we have, updates coming in the future, regardless of if the multiplayer is now out of the equation, it's good to see that they want to actually work on this thing. And when it is actually fixed, I, for one, I'm going to be one of those people that go back and play it and see what it's like. I just hope that I'm able to play 10 minutes of it without it crashing or kicking me out or making me fall through the level. That's happened too many times. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Love you, appreciate you. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow with more news. Until next time, LAMON out.